Hey, welcome all you Moonstompers. Welcome one, welcome all. We warmly welcome you like the hot sunshine back to our channel. I'm Mrs Moonstomper.
And I'm Mr Moonstomper, and that sure was a lot of welcomes. I kind of got confused there, guys, but hey, yeah, it's great to have you back on board. Guys, thank you so much for your support. Thank you for tuning in. We really appreciate it. So this episode is all about the scooter boy and the lifestyle that surrounds it. And why wouldn't we?
Scooter girls as well.
Scooter girls as well, I'm not forgetting scooter girls, sorry.
Guys.
How chauvinistic of me, how sexist.
Never mind, we forgive you.
Thank you, nothing wrong with being sexy now, is there? Right.
I'll get him.
As we were saying, scooters, so there's a lot of ground to cover here with scooters, and you're going to have to bear with us on this because contrary to popular belief, when people think about scooters, they think straight away of Vespa and Lambretta.
The two main in the main, aren't they?
Yes, however, there are more.
Oh gosh, that's a hell of a lot.
There are way more. Now, the Italians, they didn't really invent the scooter.
Oh.
I think it was really the Germans who did that.
All right.
And they did it some years ago. But they had models such as Zundap.
Okay.
And then way later, BMW scooters as well.
All right.
So that's just a name too from like the sort of German Bavarian manufacturers. And then obviously, like we said, your Italian manufacturers. But British also made scooters as well. Now, not a lot of people know that, unless you're a scooter enthusiast. Now, I've been on two wheels for how many years? For 30, 40, whatever years. It's a lot. It's a lot of years. Ever since the age of 11, actually, on two wheels in some way, shape or form.
Whether it's motorised or your chopper or your mountain bike or your
off-roaders, like you say, choppers,
racing bike.
You name it, scooters, thoroughbred race machines, street fighters, you name it. I've had the lot, and I currently ride at the moment. I currently ride a big bike, and then I've got a scooter as well. And I sort of alternate. And to me, two wheels is two wheels. Other people see it differently, and I see that all the time where people go, he's on a scooter, I won't give him a nod or a wave, or I won't give him the time of day. But I'm sort of, it's just two wheels and that's it. And and that's the way I roll. Other people might roll sort of differently, but we'll come to that later. So as I completely digressed there, the British manufacturers, so BSA and Triumph actually manufactured scooters.
Oh, right.
Would you believe? And they were fairly sort of decent, but it just wasn't it for BSA or Triumph. They were starting to suffer a bit, but they went into bigger bikes.
Okay.
But primarily, so if you said a bit of background here, the scooter was invented as basic transport. And primarily after the Second World War, the majority of countries were absolutely decimated in terms of housing stock, transport, workers, and just raw materials. And a lot of countries, what they actually did was they, although scooters did exist before, was they just put people on scooters and small capacity motorcycles as a means of transport.
Of course.
And that's all they were normally, just for people to get to work and back. And then do a bit of shopping, etc. So there you go, that's a bit of background. But there's an interesting fact for you as well, because what we didn't mention were Japanese manufacturers.
Okay.
And the Japanese manufacturers are in particular Honda. Honda is the biggest motorcycle manufacturer in the world. Now, there's a certain bike that Honda manufactured. Now, I've had one of these, in fact I've had a couple, which is the Honda Cub. And they've been done in many guises. But here's a weird fun fact for you. It's the most produced vehicle ever.
Goodness me.
There's no other manufacturer who's produced more of than Honda produced Cubs in one guise or another. They produced over 100 million units and counting. in its 59, 60 year reign. Now that is something.
I know,
really is
something else.
So, what do you know about scooters, then, Mrs Moonstomper?
Oh, about the different style. Take the Vespa for instance. It was produced in Italy, in Florence. Produced in Florence. Yes, around 1946. Yes, and the sizes, they have different range sizes.
So they were two-stroke machines.
Two-stroke, yes.
It's important to say there is a difference between two-stroke and four-stroke. Now the difference is it's quite sort of basic.
Yes.
Two-stroke, that's 2 cycles. Four-stroke is 4 cycles.
Oh, I see.
So basically, two-stroke is twice as fast as four-stroke.
Oh, right.
In terms of the cycle.
Oh, I see.
If that makes sense, because it only does it's 2 cycles, whereas four-stroke is 4 cycles.
Ah, right.
In fact, we could actually put it on the screen for you, the actual difference. So, in terms of Vespa,
yes.
right, Vespa actually means a wasp.
Yes, it
in
is.
Italian. But I happen to think, now I'm torn. Now, I always thought, in terms of scooters, you're either a Vespa person or a Lambretta person.
Yes.
So, viewers, in the comments below, if you don't mind, are you Vespa or are you Lambretta, or are you the dark side, such as the new Chinese style ones? There's also French ones as well, and then the old British ones, or the Eastern European ones, German ones, that type of thing.
Oh, yes.
What is it that floats your boat, and why does it do that?
Yes.
And
Horses for courses.
yeah, and if you ride a scooter, do you follow the lifestyle of a scooter boy or a scooter girl?
Yes.
So just out of interest, in the comments below, join in.
Yes, please do.
So the other main manufacturer was Lambretta.
Lambretta, yes.
Now, to me, I always preferred Lambrettas, and you always preferred Vespas.
Yes.
And I just like the look of Lambrettas, streamlined, stylish.
They do look good, don't get me wrong, they do look good. I like them both, but I prefer a Vespa.
I like the modern Vespas, so the GTS 300,
Yes.
that type of thing. I like those for several reasons. Number one, they're quick,
Yes.
they're a bit more reliable.
Yes.
So you haven't got to add 2-stroke oil into everything you're doing, and they've got a little bit of carrying capacity, and they're just a bit more practical as well. So they've got slightly bigger wheels than the original, like, small frame Vespas, which are those silly little 12-inch or about 10-inch wheels,
Okay.
if I remember rightly.
Yes.
And ditto with Lambrettas as well, which are, beautiful to look at.
Yes.
But in modern situations, if you're going to use that as a day rider, then it's not something I'd use as a day rider, a vintage one, because it's just the roads just don't suit it, especially here in the United Kingdom. What little roads we do have left.
Oh gosh.
Yeah.
Yes. 1947, the Lambretta was first produced.
That's it. That was unveiled at it was a bike show.
Milan Trade Fair.
Yeah, and that was when it was revealed. It was revealed to critical acclaim.
Okay.
People absolutely loved it. And if you look at the difference with sort of Series 1, Series 2 and Series 3, they're completely different. Now the Series 1, that's the one that I think it's okay. But when I get to Series 3, then I'll go weak at the knees.
Yes.
I really do. I think they're absolutely beautiful.
Okay.
Series 2 and Series 3, actually.
Oh, I see.
For me. And then the Vespas you like, I know you like the Vespa PX, which is a bit later.
Okay, yes.
But equally, just fantastic looking machines.
They
Really,
are.
really good looking machines.
Yes.
Really.
Oh, yes.
So, the lifestyle of a scooter boy.
Yes.
Scooter girl. So right, so in terms of scooter boys and scooter girls, right, the original ones were obviously mods, weren't they?
Oh, yes.
And that was dare I say it, that was a fashion accessory.
Oh, yes.
It was a means of transport, but it was an absolute must
must have, yes.
in terms of fashion.
That's included with the lifestyle and the fashion.
It was indeed. Now, the reason they rode scooters in the main was so they didn't get oil thrown all over their nice suits.
Oh yes.
For that reason.
That's it,
and that's why they wore parkers on top of those, so the fishtail Alpha Parker.
Oh yes.
They wore that on top because that protects them from the elements and all these sort of dirt and crud that was thrown on. Whereas bikers rode
motorbikes, yes.
BSA, Triumph, Aerial, Vincent, Velocet, that sort of thing, normally around about the range of 500cc. So a lot bigger, a lot more powerful. But with that came these sort of trials and tribulations of, dare I say, repairing it by the roadside, because it was British and it was absolute. Sorry guys, if you like British bikes, I think they're absolute rubbish myself. Having had quite a few of them, I don't think I've ever had a really sort of like concrete reliable one.
Oh no.
As opposed to a Japanese motorcycle, which just run.
Forever.
Yeah, in my opinion.
Yes.
So, going back to the lifestyle.
Yes.
So mods and they accessorised them with mirrors.
Oh gosh,
lights.
And the little pennants at the back of your flags.
The little flags, the sissy bar seats, you know, sort of like leopard skin seats or whatever. And they, to be honest with you, they look beautiful and they sound beautiful.
Yes.
And it was just so stylish.
Yes.
Just to see somebody in a sharp suit get off one of those with, you know, it just looks nice.
That's it.
It really does.
It's what they could afford as well. After leaving, some like most teens when they left school, leave school on Friday, jump into a job on Monday, and there was like, well, we've got some money, we've got our income, we can, but most of the kids didn't really have to pay board and rent, did they, being so young?
They did.
And when they got to be older, like 15, 16, you sort of let off with you.
Oh, I don't know. You know, my parents were quite harsh, aren't they? You know?
Mine too.
You know, it's quite, you know, let's hand your wage back over and we'll give you something out of it.
Yes.
Needless to say, I didn't stick around for too long, obviously, you know.
Oh, man. But most of them did. That's what they worked for, went out to work for, so they could afford the means of transport instead of relying on Dad for a ride.
But then going back to that parents taking your money off you, that's just practice for married life, actually. You know, don't let me tell you that, guys, you know, you'll figure that out yourself one day. Just joking, Mrs Moonstomper.
In 1 year.
Absolutely. So, towards the mid-60s, people, dare I say, fell out of love with mod. Towards the mid-60s and the late 60s. But if you watch our other videos, it kind of tells you in that. So it tells you in mod. It tells you probably in sort of bits of skin and psychedelia as well. That was the next sort of big thing that sort of kicked in.
Oh yes.
And people went into that. And scooters just went by the wayside. Until there was, especially in the United Kingdom. Now, if you're from the United States, I'm not too sure what happened there with scooters, whether it was a big thing. I know the Honda Cub in the United States was absolutely massive. In fact, their campaign in the United States was you meet the nicest person, you meet the nicest people on a Honda.
I'll say.
When they came out with that Cub, and it was a bike of the people, and that's why they sold so many of those things. Because to be honest with you, you can't break the bloody thing. You know, literally I've had one of those and ridden it through the deepest snow in the world, and it just ran and ran and ran. It was as slow as hell, it was like a tractor, but it just ran and ran and ran and ran and ran, and you couldn't break it.
No.
And if you did break it, you could just fix it like with bits of toilet roll and glue and cable ties, to be honest with you. It was just that simple. It really, really was an absolute joy to behold, and that's worth money now.
Yes.
You know, literally, I think I sold mine for £400. They're worth sort of £2,000 or £3,000 now.
Yes.
How bizarre, but I get the vibe.
Yes.
I really do. And whether you regard that as a scooter or not, I put it in the same class. Although it's not really it's not a mod scooter, is it?
Oh, I see.
It's not, and it's not really within the vibe of scooter boys and scooter girls. If that makes sense, you know, that it's more the Vespa style and the Lambretta style.
That's it. right up there, Vespa and Lambretta.
Absolutely.
The rest of it.
Well, within reason. If you know, you know. If you don't know, you don't know. But I find that a scooter, to me, a scooter's a scooter, and a bike's a bike.
Yes.
And yeah, the styling, yes, it does matter. But I've had all sorts of quirky sort of things on two wheels.
Yes.
And it's just, I look at it and go, it's a scooter, it's a moped, it's a motorbike.
I was going to say something about a moped. Did the mods ever ride mopeds, or it was just scooters?
It was
gravitate towards scooters, or
it was scooters because so a scooter was kind of classed as a moped.
Oh, right.
In that respect. So the original, so Lambrettas and Vespas were geared.
Oh, right.
Now your normal twist and go scooter of modern day is what's called belt driven. So it's a continuous velocity transmission. It's basically a rubber belt inside a casing, and there's no gears at all.
Oh.
Now, the original scooters, they all had the gears on the handlebar, left hand side, with a little clutch there to pull the clutch in, and you drop it down 1, 2, 3, 4.
Oh, right.
Yeah, and those are the original ones. So there was no difference between those and a moped.
Would a moped be just a little bit bigger than a scooter, do you think?
Not particularly, no. So in terms of engine size, a moped was normally, so a moped that's a motorcycle. Basically, it's a motorised bicycle.
Yes.
So you had to pedal that to get it to start.
Oh, hence the name moped.
Yeah, so what people would call those is, they actually call them, later on became pedal and pop. Such as your Yamaha FSE 1, the Fizzy, that was your classic sort of archetypical moped.
Yes.
Previous to that, you'd have had it says a British bike, you'd have had a BSA Bantam, Triumph Tiger Club, that sort of thing, all round about 125 up to 175cc, and then the smaller 50cc varieties, which I don't know if Triumph ever did that. BSA, I think 125 was the lowest, but then they changed laws, especially in the United Kingdom.
Yes.
So at the age of 16, you could ride a 50cc or a 49cc.
Oh.
That went 28 miles an hour and no more.
Okay.
So you were kind of limited. But a lot of people would opt for a scooter because a scooter versus a moped, there's just more style to it.
Yes.
It looks better. It just, it looks like a scooter, and you can't tell what size engine it is unless you pull the side panels off and you go, oh, that's a 250, that's a 125, that's a 200.
Ah.
So, and that's why people did that.
Rightio.
So bikers would have ridden they'd have started off on a moped and gone to a motorbike.
Oh, yes.
And it was just, in terms of fashion, it was horses for courses. But in terms of those using it for work and back, then it kind of didn't matter. It was just it was a means to an end, just to get from point A to point B.
Yes.
So there was different uses, fashion use and practical use.
The difference between like the mods and the rockers. The rockers rode the motorbikes, didn't they?
They did indeed.
Yes. A lot of the ones you mentioned earlier.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yes.
They did, and nowadays it doesn't matter so much. 50, 60 years ago, right now, as I said, I ride a motorbike, and I ride a scooter. Which one would I have been kicked off first? By whom? Because nowadays it doesn't matter.
No,
it just
changed.
It just doesn't matter at all. I could go to a scooter meet on my big bike.
Yeah, okay.
And I could go to a motorbike meet on my scooter. I'd get laughed at both, or I might get curious questions about both. But I've got perfectly good reasons for riding both of those, and they'll both do exactly what I want, and they're different machines for different things. So the scooter I'll ride in winter and wet weather a bit more. The big bike I'll save that for dry weather.
That's it,
but I'll still use it for work and back, and for just howling across the country if I need to.
Go for a ride out.
Yeah, that sort of thing.
And blow your cobwebs away.
Exactly, not so much touring anymore, but it's the same, but that would have been a thing once upon a time, but I'm, a bit too, tired for that nowadays. So, right, back to back to scooter boys and scooter girls.
Yes.
So in the mid to late 70s, what people found, right? So there was a boom for mods again. People wanted to do mods again, and that drummed up an interest in scooters again. Now scooters, at one point in time, people were, I can't remember which video I said it's in now, people were literally, when they stopped working, they just throw them away.
Alright.
They would just chuck them away, go, they don't work, and they chuck them off, literally give them to the scrap man. Because they were worth pennies, literally. You know, I think I saw I can't remember what I was looking at the other day, it was a picture of I think that was a Vespa, and I can't remember which Vespa it was. It might have been a Vespa Douglas or something like that. And somebody had bought that in I think it was 1972.
Okay.
And they'd paid the princely sum of like £35 for it.
That's all.
That's all. It was a, yeah. I mean,
did you see that today? Did it?
No, it looked okay.
Oh.
It looked okay, and they just put a receipt. I think it was on Facebook. There was a receipt of this thing. It was £35.
Oh yeah.
So that was probably the equivalent of, in those days, probably the equivalent of about $70 US. Because at that point in time, we were £2 to, £1 to $2 US. Now it'd be about the same because the pound is really, really weak.
Okay.
But those things have gone up massively.
Yes.
In terms of just because of the popularity, and people wanted to probably relive the youth.
Yes.
The same as I like to do that. So you get things that remind you of being young, or things you wish you had when you would have been young.
Yes.
So what say? Because I think it's about that time. We take a quick break.
Yes.
Show the viewers a VT.
Yes.
Then we'll come back and we're going to have a look at some other bits involving scooters, scooter boys, scooter girls, and the lifestyle, and alternatives as well.
Of course.
Because we've got some good alternatives. So, back in a mo, guys.
The skinheads fell into a negative caricature of themselves. The increasingly fractured, mod revivalists and the two-tone rude boys converged into one amorphous youth tribe, the Scooter Boys.
I'm a scooter lad, right? And I belong in Scooterland.
But what united them was a fascination for the Italian scooters now gathering rust in the sheds of pensions. They were available on the cheap, and they offered a new autonomy and independence to a generation that felt hemmed in. Soon, scooter runs started popping up around the country, offering acceptance to kids that wouldn't have been seen or heard at Glastonbury.
This is LI Lambretta 150 Special. People say they're unreliable, but they've always been unreliable. That's the fun of having a Lambretta. I mean, these were just a cheap form of transport, but with the Italians, the way they style and design everything, it just become an icon. When the Northern Mod come out, they were sort of a mixture of the mods, the skinheads, everything, and we just loved it. Jean jackets, Dr. Martens. We wanted in thinking, hang on, we can ride scooters and not look like mods. And that's where the scooter boy sort of evolved. For me, I think it was a way out. You know, when you come from a working class family, just getting away from your mum and dad, you know, constantly arguing. Every rally was like a party. 1984, Isle of Wight, you're talking over 20,000 scooters then. This was before a lot of the big festivals. You would just look on the top of the hill and it looked like Glastonbury basically. It was the nearest you'll ever get to freedom of doing exactly what you like.
On a Saturday on a bank holiday, it's quite common to see really hundreds of scooters. It's an amazing thing to see, an amazing smell, amazing noise. Of course, you sort of brought up feeling a bit trapped. So they're seeing these kids given this kind of first sense of freedom. It's incredibly romantic. That idea was kind of made more romantic by the names of the scooter clubs. So you got like things like Donny Hunters, in Goole it was the Goole Gladiators, the Scunthorpe Road Rats. A lot of kind of very heroic names, you know, of some sort of freedom. Even though everything broke down every 10 miles, they want that freedom. The scooters I always love were Lambrettas. The ones I still love the most now, these kind of sort of homemade custom scooters really. It was all about trying to make them go faster and failing terribly, you know. We just did loads of videos in sheds and garages and grinders and made his dad's hammer, trying to make something that had been engineered beautifully and worked perfectly well, go 8 miles an hour faster than just ruining it.
Do you see what they've written in the papers in the Sun? They reckon that we made the Isle of Wight into the Isle of Fry.
He got to this point where Bad Manners seemed to be playing at every rally. I went to a rally and there was a Vespa tug of war on a piece of grass. You think, that's really not why I got into scooters, you know. It's two fat fellas pissed doing a Vespa tug of war. It definitely changed.
That was its downfall, because everybody was welcome. It brought a lot of the wrong people in, and you had sort of the right wing start to get in there. Kids just were lost. People blame the blacks like they blame the Polish now. It was any excuse, but we were listening to black music. We were dancing to ska. You know, you're contradicting yourself. I think they were just rebelling for the sake of rebelling. For people like me and a lot of people who have been in it since 1980, we're still doing exactly what we did in them days. We're still drinking and partying and thinking we're 19 years old. I've noticed even the two-tone and the ska scene now getting very big, the skinhead scene getting big. The scooter scene is now the biggest it's ever been. You know, it's got more commercial, but it's good for me, I work on them, so you know, I'm not going to turn anybody's money down. Do you know what I mean?
Welcome back, everybody. I sure really hoped you liked that VT.
I hope you did as well, which we haven't even made yet. But you know you're going to like it anyway, because we always do. So, Scooters, Mrs Moonstomper.
Oh, yeah.
Scooters, Mrs Moonstomper.
Mr Moonstomper, did you know? Mr Moonstomper.
Oh, God.
Did you know?
I dare say you're going to tell me, so go for it.
The earliest motorised scooter, the first motorised scooter, was made, well, invented or made around 1916, the turn of the century.
Was that the Autoped by any chance, or the Motoped or something?
How did you know I was going to say that?
Well, because you witnessed it being made and you told me about it. No, I'm just joking, guys, actually, so I'll probably pay for that later.
Basically.
Just joking.
Yes,
Right,
it was created by a geezer called Arthur Hugo Cecil Gibson.
There you go.
And Joseph Merkel.
Joseph Merkel.
Joseph Merkel.
Well, there you go.
Yeah.
So, but those were different scooters. So those were the actual ones you stand on. So slightly different, not the seated variety.
Oh, motorised.
Yeah, so it was like a motorised scooter.
Oh, they used the legs, didn't they? The ones.
Oh, they did indeed.
Oh,
so,
yeah, me too.
But same sort of difference.
The motion.
Kind of, yeah.
Yeah, I can't talk.
No, absolutely. Dog's teeth.
Got the wrong teeth.
So, modern scooterists. Right, now, in my mind, the scene is absolutely thriving like you wouldn't believe.
Okay.
And the only reason I know that is because it's as plain as a nose in your face. You see scooters everywhere nowadays.
Yes.
And one of the biggest players in the scooter industry is Vespa. They're still going.
Oh yes, I know. Yes.
Although owned by the Italian group Piaggio. So Piaggio own quite a bit now.
Oh, I see.
Actually, but
yes,
they've been going forever and ever and ever. Also, sort of going back a bit, Vespa released license to copy some of their machines. So you had LML, which were Indian made. Also, Lambretta did the same as well. So Lambretta were made under license in India by the Bajaj group. Now they look the same. Ditto with Vespa. They look and they sound the same, but there were always, not always, but there were some quality control issues with those. In terms of mechanical, in terms of the drivetrain, and the electrics as well.
yes.
Now, then again, what I will say, Italian electrics, they're probably made out of spaghetti. There have been, if ever you've had a Ducati, you'll know exactly Willie will owns it, and then a vintage Vespa, or a vintage Lambretta for that matter. You look at it, you think, are you going to start, aren't you going to start? And therefore, to me, it's an unreliable piece of transport. So no, it's not. So nowadays I look for reliability.
Yes.
Because I just need to start, because I can't stand on the side of the road for 4 hours hoping that recovery going to turn up. Now, I am a qualified mechanic, but sometimes you just can't repair it.
No.
Not by the roadside.
Beyond repair.
No, exactly, because you're not going to haul a snap-on box down the road behind you, are you? You just take basic tools and you hope what you've got is going to cover the basics.
You put your repair kits, your chalk and your tuber glue.
Wow. Okay, so no, but the beauty of Vespa wheels and Lambretta wheels is you can cart a spare wheel around with you, and you can change that because you don't actually take the wheel off the hob.
Oh, I see.
It's a rim you just remove the rim and it's held on by bolts.
Oh.
So that's a nice easy thing, and that's Italian style. So there was thought into that. How do I change the wheel?
Yes.
And I think it's ingenious.
Yes.
Other motorbike manufacturers still haven't cottoned on to that.
Oh.
And it's an absolute crying shame. It really is. Yeah, I think they should as well.
Yes.
And I just think that was just one of the. I think it's just one of the best designs that was just lost in the midst of time.
Oh.
In terms of modern scooters, so we mentioned modern scooters, how Vespa are now owned by Piaggio.
Yes.
Lambretta, right, so that name still exists,
Yeah.
and they manufacture under the name of Lambretta because they've bought the name. Are those scooters any good? I would say they're built to a modern standard. They're cheap, but I think when you buy things like that, you get exactly what you pay for.
Yes.
However, if you buy a modern day Vespa, they are wickedly expensive.
Wow.
And I mean wickedly
I
expensive.
know I've seen the prices on
So
them.
for a flagship GTS model, it's about 6,000 UK pounds, up to about 6,500, which is, I think, for a 300cc vehicle. But it's not actually 300cc, it's just called a GTS 300. I think it's 279cc, and we'll top out at about 84 miles an hour. That thing is wickedly expensive.
I should say.
Oh, yeah, definitely. But still, all metal bodied.
Oh, yes.
Absolutely beautiful to look at.
Yes.
And it's again, it's iconic. It's as iconic as a VW Beetle, it's as iconic as a Mini, it's as iconic as a Cobra. It just is, it's just one of those things you recognise, and everybody knows exactly what that is. And that's the beauty of those things, it really is, it's just universally. It's a beautiful machine to look at.
Yes.
It really is. But there are young pretenders that have come through. There are two companies, to my knowledge, two other Chinese companies. In fact, there are more than that. So AJS, so they actually manufactured what I call a Vespa lookalike.
Oh, right.
I think it's an AJS Moderna or something. Now, AJS was a British manufacturer, but that's another name that's gone abroad. Although they're still sold over here, and AJS is still based over here, but they're manufactured in China.
Yes.
And if you look at those, they look absolutely beautiful. They're really, and it's cheap as chips.
Yes.
The other two I wanted to mention were Royal Alloy and Scamardi.
Oh, yes.
Now, Scamardi were the ones who kind of started it, if I remember rightly.
Is Royal Alloy German?
No, it's Chinese. They're both Chinese.
Scamardi
and Royal Alloy are both Chinese.
I see.
Now, they've styled theirs very much on Lambretta, and you can see it straight away. They look absolutely beautiful. Now, Scamardi and Royal Alloy, when you look at them, especially around about 2014, 2015 when they came out, they both look identical.
I see.
And I think Royal Alloy copied Scamardi, and there was a bit of a legal wrangle. Scamardi lost out. I think they're rising from the ashes. But Royal Alloy were the ones that won out, probably because they got the sort of purchasing power, the marketing power, and the ability to flood the market with, in my opinion, what are cheap machines.
Yes.
But if you look at those things, they're amazing to look at.
Yes.
In terms of reliability, I don't know what they're like. I've got a feeling they're as reliable as the next scooter, but they're built to a price, and I think when they're built to a price, you kind of get what you pay for.
Yes.
But if you own one of those guys, in the comments below, let's hear all about it. What's the trials and tribulations you had with your alloy?
Well, there's YouTube people go on YouTube and demonstrate all these different types of bikes.
They do indeed. So
yes.
there is actually somebody I follow on YouTube called Raw Alloy Rider, and I think he started riding about 3 or 4 years ago, if I remember rightly. And I just looked at his channel. It was his first ever. I think he got 2 wheels. He loves the same sort of lifestyle we like.
Yes.
Northern Soul, especially. I know he likes Northern Soul, and he's an Ocean Colour Scene fan. But he bought a blue and white sort of Royal Alloy, and I watched his trials and tribulations and all the things that broke on it. And I was a bit, I've got to admit, I was a bit sort of surprised that those things were going to break so quickly. But it's a learning curve.
Yes.
And all the fun of owning a scooter and a motorbike is that you get your hands dirty.
Yes.
That's what I think, and then you get to know it personally.
They demonstrate do all the road tests and all the talk you through ins and outs and the negatives and the positives of that particular product.
They do. Now I like those, but the only thing I don't like about those is, you know, and I'm going to be brutally honest, some of those guys will go and jump on that machine and they'll go, it's absolutely amazing. Well, do you know what? You've ridden it for like 3 minutes. You've ridden it for 3 minutes, and you can form an opinion. You can form an immediate opinion on something. But 5 years down the line, will your opinion still be the same as it was when you first got it?
I don't think it would.
Now, my big bike, my opinion of that today is the same opinion I had when I first got it.
Oh yes.
And I've had that thing for 8 years, maybe longer. 8 years, I think.
I think it was.
Yeah, 8 years. And what I'll say with that is, I would struggle to get rid of that and replace it with anything else, because it does everything I want.
Yes.
And more. And I don't need to do anything extra.
I always say to you, because when you want to go out on it, if you haven't ridden it for a while, you always think, oh, it's not going to start. And I always say to you, of course it is. It's going to start first time. It's like an old faithful friend, and it does.
It does. Yeah. It starts first time every time, and it always has. It's never ever
let you down.
Never ever failed to start. It's never broken. Nothing's ever gone wrong with it.
No.
Ever. So, the scooter scene now, Mrs Moonstomper.
Yes, Mr Moonstomper.
What's the scooter scene like now?
Oh, there's rallies up and down the country.
There's, I would say,
so many rallies.
There's in the United Kingdom alone, there are over 100 rallies.
Wow.
This year alone, over 100 rallies. And there are some big ones as well. So there's Brighton, there's Great Yarmouth.
Oh, there's one in the Midlands, you were saying, by us.
Oh, clubs.
Oh,
yeah.
Oh, yes.
So clubs, yeah.
Clubs, yes.
There are scooter clubs all over the country.
Yes,
there are hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of scooter clubs all over the United Kingdom, all over Europe, in fact, all over America, all over Australia. Those scooter clubs are everywhere. There are probably more scooter clubs than there are motorcycle clubs.
All right.
Would you believe? Yeah, which is
what it is.
But what I've noticed is it's an ageing demographic.
Yes.
Very much so. So it's people in their 50s, 60s and 70s.
Yes.
And the thing that scares me is, will that ever filter through to younger people? So just like this channel, so we notice, or I notice, the demographic of this channel, probably, I think it's about 1% or 2% female. So it's a really low count on female, and then younger people as well.
That's it, you just get the odd 1 or 2.
So yeah, the majority are over 45, so 45 to 55, 55 to 65, and 65 to 75.
Yeah, I can only imagine.
So respect to all our viewers at whatever age, whatever sex, you know, creed, etc., etc. Wherever you are, absolutely respect to you. Yeah. And if you know younger people, pass it on to them.
Big up to the youngsters as well.
It's a good bit of history. I think it's a piece of history that should never die.
I know.
I mean,
I agree.
all those scooter rallies. So when we watch Scooter Coop, who's got a
YouTube channel.
Yeah, and he's just passionate, so he'll go all over the country, and he'll film as many rallies as he can.
That's it.
Then I also watch Scooter Lab UK, SL UK. Then there's a Vespa channel in the United States. He's a dealer, and I can't remember the chap's name, but I watch him all the time.
Okay.
I can't, his name will come back to me.
Alright.
He's absolutely brilliant. Just for demonstrating new Vespas and Vespa maintenance and the bits and pieces you can get from as well.
Okay.
Plus the other ones as well. So I think there's Shed Tune I watch as well.
Alright.
And there's a couple of others as well. All really, really good. Cobweb Garage as well.
Yes.
All those other guys who, you know, they're keeping it alive.
Yes,
and they're
they
keeping
are.
it royal. So in terms of scooters, there is another one as well. So there was one that caught my eye a few years ago, the Peugeot Django.
Oh yes.
Which I think that started like a 50s car. But I think it's a beautiful looking scooter.
Yes.
Just in terms of retro looks, because scooter lifestyle, it's all about retro scooters, right?
Yes, it's got to be.
Of course it is. Of course it is. You know, modern scooters don't. It just doesn't look right.
Oh, no.
It just doesn't sit right, look right, and that's why
It's too new. Too up to date.
it does, doesn't it?
Yes.
It does, and it's not the.
It's not the same. It's not the same feel. Is it?
What I'll say is it's actually not the right. It's not the right shape and it's not the right noise in my mind. To me, scooters should actually be two-stroke, and you should be able to smell the Castrol R that comes out the rear of it. You know, I love to smell a Castrol R in the morning. Who doesn't? You know.
That's it.
So yeah, and all these scooter scooter rallies they're playing. You know, they have.
Music as well, don't they?
They do indeed.
Sometimes live bands.
Stage. Tribute bands.
Yes.
Lots of tribute bands.
Especially Northern Soul and Ska and all that. And
they do indeed.
Yes.
They do indeed. So if you got one by you guys, get down into it, get and have a look, and see what they've got to offer. What I will say is the guys on scooters, they're a really friendly bunch as well.
Oh yes.
Really, really friendly bunch, and it's more the more the merrier. It just is. It's not, you know, bikers, right? So bikers can be a bit prizzy, I'll be honest with you, and they can be a bit. So when you rock up to an open bike meet, that's all right. But if you rocked up to a
scooter,
if you rocked up to a group of bikers, then they're going to look at you and go, "Who are you?" You know. So yeah. So it's a bit. You know, it's a different scene. It really is.
Mr Moonstomper. Talking of bikers, you know, back in the 60s, the bikers, they had this thing called the ton-up, you know, the ton-up boys.
From the Ice Calf.
Oh yes.
So it was the Ice Calf down the old North Circular, there and back, and they got a certain amount of time to do it.
Yes.
But they had to get 100 miles an hour to get the time.
I know.
Yeah.
It was like a big thing, wasn't it? Like a badge of honour.
It was a big thing.
Yes.
I mean, nowadays you'd be lucky enough to get like 30 miles an hour because of the traffic, but I'm just saying, and I'm not condoning speed, not that I've been, there's clubs as well, Vespa Club. Vespa Club Great Britain is the biggest scooter club in Great Britain.
Yikes.
Yeah, which is absolutely huge. In fact, Vespa Club's all over.
Yes.
Right. So, just here's a weird one for you. So, talking of scooters,
oh yes,
nothing to do with sort of stylish 50 scooters, but YouTuber Colin Furze.
Oh yes.
So
yeah.
he actually bought. So
Crazy guy.
so if you don't know who Colin Furze is, I don't know where you've been. I think that bloke's got he's got a few more subs than us. He's probably got about 8 or 9 million.
Gosh.
So we're just a little bit behind him there. However,
yeah.
I seem to remember him buying a scooter probably, I'm going to say about 15, 20 years ago.
Oh yes.
And right, as well as making sort of motorised sheds and armchairs and disability scooters, he decided, his infinite wisdom, he's sick of being tailgated on his scooter, that he was actually going to put a flamethrower at the back of his scooter. And he did just
I've seen that, man.
Yeah, and needless to say, I think the police stopped him and said, why is that flamethrower coming right out the back of his scooter? And it wasn't just a flamethrower. I said, I'm going to dig a photo or a picture of it, or a clip of it. If we can dig that out, we'll put it on the screen for you guys, because that really was quite funny.
Yes.
And that to me, right, although he's not embracing that lifestyle, it epitomises the trials and tribulations a scooter rider will have to go through.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Definitely. So it just epitomises it. It really does.
I know this hasn't got anything to do with scooter, but he did that tram as well, that motorised tram thing.
He did, yeah.
Yes,
And
and the wall
Tok
of death.
Yeah, Tok as well. Yeah, he did. And the big catapult.
Oh gosh.
And the swing. And
that swing.
Yeah. And the underground bunker, etc., etc.
Jeez,
But there you go.
Yes.
So, yeah. But we'll be catching up with Colin Furze soon. So yeah.
He is hoping.
Right. So, have you got anything else, Mrs Moonstomper? Mrs Moonstomper, have you got anything else?
I can't think of anything else, Mr Moonstomper.
Right. Okay. So, guys, right. So, next week, right, we're actually on holiday.
Yes.
Right, and we're going to take what we think is a well-earned break.
Summer break.
Currently, at the moment, I'm working 3 jobs. So I need a bit of a break just to recharge the batteries.
Yes.
So what we're going to do is we're not going to leave you empty-handed. We're going to put something up, but we won't be presenting it. When we come back, we'll be fresh and full of ideas, and we'll be back to normal. So have you got anything else, Mrs Moonstomper?
No likey, no lighty.
Jesus Christ. Okay. I don't even know what to say to that. Right. Yeah, on that bombshell, I think, right. Guys, thank you so much for your support. Don't forget, stick around and stay tuned. We're only away for 1 week, then we will be back.
Yes.
If you need to get at us, drop something in the comments or drop us an email. We'll put our email in the description, and you can always drop us an email. So, until the next time, guys, much love, respect, and peace out.
Ta-ta.
and let me out of my cage. Now, time for me is nothing cause I'm counting no age. Nah, I couldn't be there. Nah, you shouldn't be scared. I'm good at repairs and I'm under each snare. Intangible that you didn't think, so I command you to. Panoramic view, look, I'll make it all manageable. Pick and choose, sit and lose, all you different crews. Chicks and dudes who you think is really kicking tunes. Picture you getting down in a picture tube, like you lit the fuse. You think it's fictional, mystical, maybe spiritual. Hero who appears in you to clear your view when you're too crazy. Lifeless to those, the definition for what life is. Priceless to you because I put you on the hype. You like it? Gun smoke, you're righteous with one toke. You're psychic among no possess you with one go.
I'm happy, I'm feeling glad I got sunshine in a bag. I'm useless, but not for long. The future is coming on. Ain't happy, I'm feeling glad I got sunshine in a bag. I'm useless, but not for long. The future is coming on. It's coming on. It's coming on. It's coming on. It's coming on.
The essence of basics, without it you make it. Allow me to make this childlike in nature. Rhythm, you have it or you don't, that's a fallacy, I'm in them. Every sprouting tree, every child of peace, every cloud and sea. You see with your eyes and see destruction and demise. Corruption in the sky from the enterprise. Now I'm sucked into your lies through rust, so not his muscles but percussion he provides with me as the guide. Y'all can see me now cause you don't see with your eye. You perceive with your mind, that's the inner. So I'ma stick around with Russ and be a mentor. Bust a few rhymes, so remember what the thought is. I brought all this so you could survive when law is lawless. Feeling sensations that you thought was dead. No squealing, remember that it's all in your head.
Ain't happy, I'm feeling glad I got sunshine in a bag. I'm useless, but not for long. The future is coming on. Ain't happy, I'm feeling glad I got sunshine in a bag. I'm useless, but not for long. My future is coming on. It's coming on. It's coming on. It's coming on. It's coming on. My future is coming on. It's coming on. It's coming on. It's coming on. It's coming on. My future is coming on. It's coming on. It's coming on. It's coming on. It's coming on. My future is coming on. It's coming on. It's coming on. My future is coming on. It's coming on. It's coming on. My future is coming on. It's coming on. It's coming on. My future